All right. So I'm with Graham Downs, CEO of Cascadia Minerals, and Cascadia has kicked off the summer field season in the Yukon with a share price move from 9 cents to about 15 cents today. There was a news release last week. They're going to test the first drill test of a very high grade rock sample, basically over 1,000 grams per ton gold at the AMP zone at the Catch copper gold property in the Yukon. So, the 2024 program kind of ended on a cliffhanger with AMP and Volt showing really nice samples at surface. So yeah, tell us about AMP and tell us what you guys are doing and when will you start drilling?
Yeah, for sure. Our team just got up there about 4-5 days ago, and I guess one of the key things about AMP is that we only got a couple days on that target last year, so it's a brand new discovery. So we didn't know too much about it, other than the guys went out there, saw some outcrop, chipped it off, and I mean we couldn't believe that there was that much gold in it. And then they were able to go back again another day and got a bunch more samples around there. So yeah, it's a brand new showing. It's like you said, it's never been drilled. There's it's a kind of a gossiness area, and all up slope from there, it's all gossiness as well. So there's a lot of color anomalies all throughout that. So our guys have really been spending the last 5 days at the AMP, following up, getting some orientations on the structures there, doing pitting and trenching around it to really get a better understanding of it, and doing hand pitting, because there's samples like a couple hundred meters away that are really high grade, like almost half a gram in soil that nobody's been back to. So they're out there looking at that and trying to piece it all together. And so yeah, we're really jazzed about it. And drilling should start, I think it's arriving on Friday, May 30th. So it's coming really quickly. And then what's nice about this is they're just going to be short holes. They're not big, long holes like we've been doing down at Spark. So yeah, it's exciting.
So the AMP zone is interpreted to be an epithermal system. And so you don't need to drill as deep as you would in a porphyry target. So what are you using to drive, your targeting in these first 3 holes at AMP?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's this thing outcrops. It's right there. Like these 1,000 grammers, and like we got 140 grams, we got an ounce. So it's right there. And the guys have been they've been on the outcrop and around it for the last couple of days. So they've been doing a lot of sampling there, and yeah, I think they can't wait to get the drill on it either. So it's pretty simple. But what we really needed to do is get good orientations on structures, just so that we knew the right way to drill it, or drill perpendicular to any structures. And I think the guys figured it out. And we're just going to build the drill pad in the next day or two and get going on. I think we want to do about 4-ish short 200 meter holes, and just keep following that structure along. And I mean, it's you don't want to overthink about it. Just set right up on top of that 1,000 grammer, step back a little bit, and get a cut across it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And the first holes, I mean, you're going to learn a lot from these first 3 or 4 holes, and that will inform how you drill next and where you drill next. So that's pretty exciting. And I imagine if they're 200 meters or shallower holes, you can get the assays back for these pretty quickly. I mean, I don't want to be too aggressive, but is it possible that you could get the assays for the first hole or 2 in the next 6 weeks?
Oh yeah, I think so. And especially if we see visible gold, they're going to get rushed. Okay. Obviously. I mean, if we start getting any widths of visible gold, because when we did I think you might remember, I can't remember if we talked about this, but when we got that 1,000 gram sample, we're like, wait a minute, let me talk to the prospect, like, did you see any VG? And like, no, I didn't see anything. It's like, well, then we talked to the lab and we said, listen, can we get the rejects from that? Like, is there any gold left? And we got a vial of gold from it. So that outcrop has to have some visible gold somewhere in and around it. So if we start seeing it in the drill core, we'll definitely be fast tracking it just so that we can, make the best use of the entire season up there.
So going back to last season and how that program ended, the Spark zone, which is to the south of AMP, had a couple of nice intercepts. I mean, it was definitely encouraging, but it didn't end on a high note. So sort of like, what's your interpretation of, the Spark zone and the AMP zone, and how do they correlate, with each other?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, going back to the, 2023 discovery of 116 meters of 0.3 copper, 0.3 gold. And that was spectacular to be able to hit that in your first couple of holes on a target. And then we did a really bold step out, about 350 meters to the east, and we got 106 meters of 0.37 copper, so even higher grade copper and 0.22 gold. So we thought we had a bit of a trend going out towards the east. We put a couple more holes along the trend out to the east, but they didn't hit. So, keeping up to the, market expectations was challenging, albeit those are great holes, and we've refined our ability to where we think that mineralization is going, and we're seeing northeast trending corridors. Now we have a much better understanding of the corridors and the mineralized zones and the potassic alteration. We're in a much better space to do that, but we just thought, with the funds we have, which we're fully funded for the drill program we're doing right now, we just didn't want to do deep porphyry holes right now, especially when this AMP zone is just staring at you in the face with gold where it's at, and there's copper around the AMP zone as well. So I think our funds are best suited right now at AMP, and then following up at the Volt a little bit in about 3 or 4 weeks. So the AMP zone is a complete no-brainer. You have to drill that this year. So we want to start there. And and then I think we'll move up to the Volt. Or the team's actually, I think, going to go to the Volt tomorrow and really try to figure out where all of that mineralization is. Because the Volt is the area that has the most surface copper gold mineralization on the property, most I've ever seen. But we just haven't been able to find it in the couple holes that we've done there. So I know the guys are up there now. We've got our chairman, Rob Karn, who's got many years of experience in the Yukon. Bill Wenjanowski, my mentor when I started there 30 years ago, and a bunch of other geos really honing in on that. So
the Volt zone is really impressive. I mean, the soil samples show a very large, widespread copper in soil, anomaly there at the Volt zone, and you're interpreting that to be a porphyry target. It makes sense, considering there's pretty strong copper and gold there at surface at the Volt zone. Obviously it's early days, but based upon the work you've done so far at the Volt, where do you want to drill next there, and how deep might the core of the system be there?
Well, the problem is we just don't know yet. But what I do know, and what we all can't figure out, is that there's so much mineralization coming there. It's a bit tricky because there's been a little bit of a landslide where there's a bit of a slump block that's kind of slid down a couple hundred meters, and then that's where all the mineralization is. So it has to be a little bit upslope or just to the south because of the ice direction. So it hasn't come far, but we need to figure it out. And the team's done a bunch of great work over the winter. We have an ex-Yukon geological surveyor, surfacial geologist up there with our team right now, figuring it out. So we don't know exactly where the holes are going, but that's what the guys are figuring out right now. And I think we have a much better handle on it, but they need another 4 or 5 days to ground truth it. So where they're going, not exactly sure. We'll talk to them over the next couple of days, but I'm sure they're going to come up with a target. And I think the key thing up at the Volt is it's hydrothermal breccias. They're definitely porphyry related. Might be a little bit higher in the system, which makes sense because it's at a higher elevation than the Spark zone. But these things can be high grade and standalone mines. So if it's a big breccia pipe or something like that, that's okay as well.
So there's a bit of Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the key thing, these are all kind of interconnected in some way. It's just there's just this huge system over a couple kilometers.
Mhm.
You've got your kind of porphyry. We know we've got potassic, kilometer away. You got the amp, those things. Like the amp is going to be epithermal or maybe even intermediate, kind of like a Bruce Jack. We don't know until we just don't know. It's so early, but it's related to the system. And then how is the volt related to it? The way I just keep coming back to the fact that there's just so much mineralization over 2 kilometers. It's iterative. You're going to figure it out, and we just need to find a big enough body that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, so these porphyries tend to form in clusters, and they're like fingers on a hand, right? So there could be like 4 or 5 expressions of the porphyry system along, a trend, and the trend could be, a few thousand meters. It could be 10,000. You just don't know, and all the systems are a little different. But based upon the maps and the presentation and the work you've done to date, it absolutely appears that you have a porphyry system that is extremely widespread, very extensive, and you're just trying to vector into the sweet spots of it. So you're starting the 2025 program at AMP with 3 or 4, relatively shallow holes, and then you're going to go from there, and most likely that means that you're going to go to Volt. So the company recently closed the financing, about a couple $1 million. Tell us about who took part in the financing and who were some of the largest shareholders of Cascadia.
So I think some of your listeners and viewers are aware of Michael Gentile. He's a big investor in junior mining space out of Montreal, and so he's really backing what we're doing up here. Looking for porphyries in Yukon Stikine and likes to catch, and he himself was one of the largest backers in that, and he has quite a following. So that was the majority of that, and plus a couple flow through funds. But we're good. We've got Hecla is our largest shareholder. Barrick, Michael Gentile. We put in quite a bit of money ourselves, as much as we can, and we have a really good investor base. And I think, kind of going back to your point, where we're going to drill. I think if we hit on AMP, I think you're going to probably see us hang out around AMP for most of the season. I suspect that. So, and I'm hopeful that the guys are finding more out there. It's pretty nice showing. One of the best ones I've seen.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you hit an AMP,
yeah,
why go anywhere else? Just keep following up on it. But Volt is obviously a great target that warrants more drilling. Okay,
it does, yeah.
So I got the plan for catch this season, but you have several other projects, including one that you recently staked, Max and Milner. So tell us about why you stake that, and what are the plans for the project portfolio?
Yeah, it's a really good segue into like the whole thesis of what we're doing. Like a young prospector brought this catch project to us. It had never been explored in the history of the Yukon. He went out there under a program with the Yukon government that kind of helps fund prospecting, went out there and just started finding all its mineralization. So we found this, or he found it, and we were like, wait a minute, this is great. But the whole idea is that this Stikine package of rocks that hosts all the big copper gold deposits and mined in BC, that same package of rocks comes right through the Yukon, right out towards Carmax, and starts trending out towards Minto. And we were looking at it like, well, nobody's ever really staked in this Stikine terrain. Nobody's looked in it, and the Yukon Geological Survey hadn't until recent years really identified that it was a Stikine package. So. And when we looked into it, we're like, there's hardly any claim stake to everything. So we did a analysis on all the drainages throughout the entire area, ranked all the targets, got 10 targets, went out and looked at our first couple, and we started finding copper gold mineralization in areas that had never been staked before. And we're like, I think that's there's not a lot of people doing that, but that's one of the opportunities in the Yukon is if you don't just map stake and get on your grab a coffee and grab your clicker and go stake claims like you do in BC. You got to go out there, get in a helicopter, fly around, and actually put them in the ground. So it's an opportunity. Our team's been working up there forever, and we went and did some prospecting, and it's incredible that these things haven't been found. It's just, the Yukon's a big place, and what's even better is the Klondike Highway goes right down the heart of this Stikine ring. So anyway, we picked up the Milner, we picked up Max, we have a bunch of other ones that are, we hold close to our chest. We just haven't staked them yet. We want to get out and do those. We're going to go do fly camps, follow up a lot of these projects with more prospecting, geochem, potentially geophysics, and move them up, move them towards advancing them to drill stage as fast as possible, while still looking and staking new things. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I like this kind of work. Finding your own projects, staking them, super grassroots. Where
no royalties.
Give up a royalty. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. It's kind of interesting because there's like this contrast, Graham, because like copper's almost $5 a pound again. Some of the big copper mining stocks are starting to move up again, like Freeport, but then you have stocks like CAM trading at a 10 million market cap. What do you think is the gap in valuation going on here, and why is there so little love for the explorers?
I think it's the pool of money for junior mining is getting smaller and smaller, and it's harder to get. So I think the investors want to take on minimal risk. So if there's something a little bit more advanced stage, then money will flow there. Although I would think in the last, I keep an eye on things. It looks like money might be trickling down a little bit into some of the other earlier stage explorers, and at least that's what I'm kind of seeing. It's not a lot, don't get me wrong, but there's a bit of an appetite for it, especially with the commodity prices going where they're going. So I don't know. You talk to the Barracks and all of these people, and there's definitely a push from corporates getting into the coming down the into the exploration a little bit more as well. So I don't know. It's out there. You've got to do good work and be doing looking in friendly jurisdictions, in my opinion. And I think you can raise some money, and as long as you're doing some good work and have prospective properties. That's key.
Well, hopefully you guys are doing some good work, and you're going to drill a great hole or a couple holes here the next couple months, and get some more love from the big mining firms. So you have Hecla, Barrick on your shareholder registry. What are your conversations like with Barrick and Hecla?
Yeah, they're very supportive. We've got a couple of Hecla directors on our board, and they like what we're doing, and I would just add that we're always looking at doing other things to bring value to Cascadia, and if they go anywhere, you don't know, but we are always looking for opportunities to really move the needle for Cascadia. So hopefully we can put one or two of those things together and combine that with some excellent, exciting drilling that we're doing at AMP and Volt, and then some of the other work we're doing. There's a lot of, we're talking to a lot of people, and we'll see what happens. We're quite happy with where we're at. So, it was really surprising to see, announcing our exploration program and our drill program to get such a big bump. I think we traded 5 million shares on that. So it shows you that people are looking at these things and these companies. And I think people woke up to the fact that, here's an outcrop that's got multi-ounce grab samples out of outcrop and people want to take a shot at it. So, so there's people out there looking for opportunities, and there's a bit of seasonality that goes with it as well, I guess, for the Yukon too.
Yeah, it's nice to see that move up that you guys had last week. And frankly, I think it makes some sense. I think that 9 or 10 cents a share is a ridiculous price, especially when drilling is about to get underway. And then, as you said, like AMP, I mean, there's no such thing as a slam dunk in the exploration business, but
No.
I think the odds are better than most targets, I would say, with AMP. So we'll just have to see. So final question, Graham, when does the drill, hit the ground, and when can we expect an announcement on that?
We probably won't announce it, I think, but I think the drill will be spinning this weekend at the latest.
Oh, okay. So we're just a few days away. Great. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it as well.